about the Congress People's political party, which the former president of the country, late President Muhammadu Buhari, represented way back in 2011. It was just a political party. Fast forward to 2025, it's not about political party. It might not be about politics. It's about the future of Nigerians, whether it could be decided by a very powerful force. I'm talking about the United States of America. It's all about the country of particular concern. Nigerians have been concerned. No one has sat on the fence. People want something to happen. Either they change it or they don't change it. Yet everyone is craving for peace. Again, I switch to the gentleman wearing the hat right here with the heart to talk about this issue, Engineer Meshach Oza and Mr. Henry Wanze, to begin to read out their thoughts. First of all, with that word, country of particular concern, when you heard that particular term, what was the feeling like? What were your thoughts? Were you hoping that it happened very soon, or do you think that, let's slow down before this happens? Engineer Meshach.
Well, thank you very much. I didn't feel any way different from how I felt in the last 2-3 decades of democracy. It's long overdue for the acronym "a country of particular concern" to be used as tagged as a name for Nigeria, because we've always been a country of particular concern in terms of corruption, in terms of rigging of elections, in terms of insecurity. The international community sees us. So we are truly a country of particular concern. I'm of the opinion that, yes, it came at such a time that we as a people, we as a nation needed aid, international aid in terms of not finance, but then tactical international aid to curb the excesses of a few insurgents who have become monstrous in their activities, premised on the fact that certain individuals in power are beginning to use Nigerians as pawns in the table of their chessboards to achieve their political gains. The products we're seeing, that reason for the pronouncement by the United States of America is premised on the lack of leadership on the part of this administration and the ones before them in tackling the insurgency and, of course, the rise in insecurity in the land and the affirmation of genocidal tendencies. And it's not far away from the truth. It's really a pitiable situation that we have found ourselves as a country. And when you say it is no longer news that it's not just about America calling Nigeria a country of particular concern, we have certain nations in the European Union, we have international organizations looking at what is happening, and now a pronouncement was made that we are a country of particular concern, and nothing. If somebody calls you a bad name, he expects a reaction for you to rectify that name. But we did not see that. We didn't see a positive response on the part of government and on the part of governance. Now, what angered a lot of people the most is the circumstance that happened. Now, what happened in Kebbi State, for example, it's not supposed to have happened after that pronouncement. Now, soldiers were ambushed again in Kebbi State day before yesterday, and the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria went to Kogi State to go and receive the campees that have left the PDP to the APC. How do you call this kind of... We are a country of particular... It shows a void in leadership, right, that you can have people.
Thank you, Engineer.
Who are not sensitive.
I'm going to turn off your mic now.
Please do.
I'll move to Mr. Henry Wanze. We are setting the ball rolling.
Okay.
Mr. Henry Wanze, it looks like we're trying to set the ball rolling, and Engineer Meshach was trying to go score the goal.
Okay.
We have to take it
yes.
one step at a time.
Okay.
Basically, that word CPC is no longer the 2011 word. It's now a big word that defines the future of Nigeria, so to speak. But something is certain. It looks like many Nigerians have agreed that, you know what, this literally is a country of particular concern because of the wanton killings we have seen in the country. So it's almost not debatable. But the debate lies whether or not it is about religious violence or a plan to do ethnic cleansing in Nigeria, or religious cleansing, so to speak. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's a question you asked earlier. The issue of the country of particular concern, I think it came rather too late, if you ask me. And like I said, the other time we had this program, I said this predates the present administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. not because I just want to say it for the purpose, but I'm saying it for the purpose of those who care to listen. These has been going on for far too long. We heard about the religious riots in Kano and all that, during the Obasanjo time and all that. So it is not something that just started today. The only thing is that the government over time has failed to do enough.
Okay.
The government has done the little it can, but we are still saying it is not enough to address the issues. And these are the issues. At the time, we had this hope that they mentioned those who are terrorism financiers. Names were mentioned, or names were touted to be mentioned, and would name and shame them and all that. And it ended there. It was just for press, for the over-sensationalization of the press as usual. Okay. For the press to be, for the appetite to be whetted, and the headlines and all that. And nothing, came, outside that. That's the point we're saying now. The government has been paying lip service to the issue of insecurity. And for those who are still arguing, and that's what even angered most of us, saying, trying not, to undermine the statement that there are no killings, and there are no killings against Christians, there's no genocide. The point is, we all agree that there are killings, needless, senseless killings going on in this country. Since 2023, there have been needless killings. Prior to 2023, there have been senseless killings. Whether you call it against Christians, whether you call it against Muslims, whatever you call it, there have been killings. And these persons that have been killed are human beings. Human beings who have been slaughtered like chickens. So the point is, the government trying to undermine what is there in the full glare for everybody to see, and trying to paint it and make it look like, oh, it's not a religious thing, it's not one religion against another. That is not the point. You are even missing the point. The point, are there killings? Yes. Is there any attempt for a program which is ethnic cleansing? Because you see, some of these things have been going on in some of these middle belt states, like Plateau. Plateau has become more like what's it called? A center where these things go on. It's like the centripetal and centrifugal forces keeps pulling, these assailants or whatever there. Taraba, cool. Benue, and, and all and the like. And you begin to ask yourself, what is the end game of this? If you look at it, and why people are even saying this, because these areas are largely dominated by Christians, largely dominated by people who believe a particular faith. So, pardon whatever they are saying, the statistics that is not Christian genocide, the most important thing, they are killings. And the government of the day, the federal government, has failed in its responsibility according to section 14, subsection 2B of the 1999 Constitution, which is very sacrosanct. And I say this without any apology to government at all levels, both at the national and subnational. Any government, let me quote it again, the security and welfare of their citizens is the primary purpose of government. Yeah. So if you as a government, both at the national and subnational level, cannot protect your citizens, you have no business being in government in the first place. I say this without apology. And that is what has been happening in our country. We have leaders who just come in and just to feather their nest and the rest of them. Okay, we're talking about this whole thing now. Just on Tuesday, in Eruku, in Ekiti local government area of, what's the state again? Of Kwara State. Kwara. We saw the video. And the people have been saying this has been going on. The only thing why we knew this because there was a CCTV footage that carried out, saw the whole thing. People were slaughtered in church. Some people were was abducted. Of course, statistics will vary. People will say 3, people will say 4. And you are still trying to deny the fact. Now, Riley Moore had visitors from Nigeria, Kayode Egbetukun, IGP, the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, Chief of Defense Staff, Oluyede, General Oluyede, there, and even the Chief of Defense and Security, Odwedende, all of them were there in America. Why were they in America? That is, we are reacting, trying to find a way to run from pillar to post. Why did we not chase the black billy goat when it was daylight? We waited until it was dark before we started chasing the black billy goat. How do you catch the black billy goat in that? So that's the point what we're saying, when it was dark. That's the point we're saying. So naming the country a country of particular concern, I think it's even belated, it's even late, and I think it's not out of question. I didn't see it as anything, I just felt it ought to have been done earlier.
But the question is religious, whether it's religious or not, that's the big question.
Yes, and that's what I said. I said, my concern is I am not interested. I am interested in the fact that there are killings.
People are dying. And
they are slaughtered, not just the way they are slaughtered. And these people who do this, do it brazenly with impunity, and they get away with it.
All right, let's get to Engineer Mesha Kosa. Let this ball continue rolling now. The topic there on the screen says, country of particular concern, otherwise called CPC, a genuine act from the United States of America, or whether the USA is overreaching? That's where the topic is. Now, a question here is this. We are complaining about this, and we've mentioned Benue, we mentioned Plateau State, but a reverend father, or indeed is the governor of Benue State, Father Hyacinth Aleya, says, there's no religious violence in this state. Are there religious violence in Benue State? I'm going to ask you, as simple as that. Since we are here in Asaba, do we know better? And since America are there in America, another continent, do they know better than the governor of a state saying, you know what, there might be killings here, but there are no religious killings in my state?
I think literally is correct. Religious violence, what is religious violence? Religious violence can be intra-religious violence. It can be inter-religious violence. But when you exclusively mention that there are religious violence, I think if you read further, understand this narrative further, it's not. What is in Benue State is far more than violence. It's genocidal. It's a genocide against a certain religion. What is a genocide? A genocide is a systematic cleansing.
A certain religion or a certain tribe.
A certain religion, a certain tribe. I'll give you what it means. Okay. A systematic cleansing of a certain religion, or a certain tribe, or a certain ethnic group, as the case may be.
Yes.
So I think it's just when you want to make it a religious crisis, it's not a crisis. A crisis is such a situation whereby the two groups are fighting. That becomes, or they are rioting, that becomes a crisis. But this is not. One group is being oppressed, is being extinguished, is being exterminated from the face of the earth. That is. Now, you talked about the United States. Let's understand the fundamental reasons why we should, as a point of duty, applaud the approach or the coming or whatever of the United States. Okay. We must understand something, that the international community are not fools. And for Nigeria as a nation, our intelligence gathering, it's limited. I want to use that word, limited. I'm leading you somewhere. Many things happening in Nigeria. The Americans have the intelligence far more than our own intelligence, DMI, as the case may be. But I must give the DSS kudos. Now, I'm going to tell you why. Okay. In Kebbi State, prior to the abduction of the schoolgirls and killing of the principal in that school, the vice principal, the DSS came with classified information that there's going to be an attack in that community. And I must comment with no reservations, with no bias, I commend the DSS. They have been doing a lot of intelligence gathering, but they are limited because they don't implement policy decisions. They drop the intelligence gathered at the table of their bosses, who carry it to the table of the commander-in-chief. It is not their responsibility to declare that there should be a reaction from those information intelligence gathered. Yes. Now, what now happened in Kebbi State? It will shock you the kind of reasons Nigerians are crying. 30 minutes before the attack by the insurgents, 30 minutes before, the security was removed from that vicinity. 30 minutes before. And 30 minutes after the security were withdrawn, there was an attack. That is one. That goes to tell you that there are fifth columnists within the system. The de-radicalized, so-called repentant and de-radicalized Boko Haram extremists. Terrorists that we are now recruited into the Nigerian army are fifth columnists within the army. They still relate command informations to their allies.
Allegedly.
Forget allegedly right now. Oh my God, the Americans will give you evidence. Just relax. We are coming to that. I'm coming. I'm not doing it with emotion. There's no allegedly. That's what's happening. Okay, have you sat down to ask yourself a salient question? Why did they not recruit Niger Delta militants to Nigerian Army or Nigerian police? Because they were equally de-radicalized. Why did they choose only northern terrorists, the Fulani de-radicalized Muslims, to put into Nigeria?
You're saying they took away the guns of the Niger Delta militants?
I'm going somewhere. I'm leading on somewhere. Now let's look at it. Alhaji Kefi, Major General Kefi, was retired from the Nigerian army because in 2021 he actually led a command in Borno State that targeted he called it the real Boko Haram. And when he came back, instead of being celebrated, he was detained and finally was removed from the army, was retired from the army. And he equally made a reference that Alhaji Ibrahim Atahiru, the chief of army staff whose plane crashed in 2021, was that the Tinubu administration should investigate that plane crash. Now what happened? Atahiru came out that he wanted that the financiers of Boko Haram are within the corridors of power, within the top echelon of the military and government, that they must be investigated. And a phony plane crash came and the chief of army staff is gone. Look at the trajectory of officers that have been killed. It will go to tell you that, look, 5th column, a certain battalion of officers, after we're going to Kebbi State, when the vice president went to receive people that were decamping in Kogi State, a nation that is sensitive, will you be receiving decampees? You are supposed to be receiving in Bayelsa State or which state? Well, I think today or tomorrow, but they had to cancel it because Nigerians shouted.
The president had to cancel
it. It's two nations.
It's two nations, yes. Have we had a response from Mr. President on these killings?
He cancelled it.
Is cancellation a response? I'm coming to that. Now we look at the situation on ground. These young battalions were going to Kebbi State recently, I think it was last week. On their way, how did they, the question one of them asked that how did their location, how was their location? They had gunfire attack. It was a warfare. Some survived, some died. The question the young commander, I said, how was their location compromised?
Okay, so where are you driving at now? Let's get
what I think what is that they are 5th column.
They are 5th column. There are people within the military. There are people within the security architecture.
Why the American government has to come?
The American government has more intelligence because, my brother, it's not far-fetched.
And you have described
a 27-year-old American journalist was kidnapped.
You have described the American government as international community.
Yes.
It's the American government and international community.
Of course.
Who made America the judge of his?
It doesn't make America. Look, if you can't take, let me tell you what I will tell you, Francis Ofulwe. If you cannot take care of your children, if you cannot take care of your kids, your wife comes to complain to welfare. We will take the kids from you. We will compel you to be taking charge of this, to be meeting your obligations.
So America is
coming to help Nigeria because people are being killed. If this has not happened to you, it has happened to people I know. There's genocide in the land, and people are dying because people are selling the roots of movement of military intelligence away to the people and to the insurgents. And the people that are doing it are within the army. How can you people that have killed, that have been de-radicalized, you recruit them into the army, then you expect them to be loyal to the Nigerian government? Impossible.
All right. That's a ball. The balls have been shot. Many balls shot. Many fires right here. It feels like there's a radicalization in the studio, so to speak. But this is a very sensitive matter, and I think I would permit emotions to go up. Brazen much here. I think I understand that people are dying, and so we must find a way out. But while we're finding a way out, we should be concerned about the way that we are following, so we don't jump from frying pan to fire. And we're talking about the American state, the United States of America, that is very, very famous or infamous for how much they have tried to save other countries. The savior of the world, so to speak. Let's have the graphic picture of the United States of America and all the countries they have gone to save ever since.
Libya.
Let's talk about them. I think let's start from Iraq. To be on screen very shortly,
Iraq,
so our audience
Libya,
can see.
Afghanistan.
Iraq, 2003, weapons of mass destruction. Freedom from Iraqis, or freedom for Iraqis. The US invaded Iraq, claiming Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction and that America needed to liberate Iraq. The outcome? Let's have that picture on screen. No weapon of mass destruction was ever found. And then the country descended years to sectarian warfare. There's also ISIS emerged partly because of the Iraqi state and how it collapsed. Over 200,000 civilians, not army men, were killed, millions displaced. This is considered as one of the most destabilizing US interventions in modern history. Libya, 2011, and that story about protecting civilians from Gaddafi, in quote. The US and NATO intervened, saying they wanted to protect Libyans from Gaddafi's brutality. The outcome, Gaddafi was removed, but the country collapsed. Libya became a battleground for militias till now. Human trafficking markets, including Nigerians there, and open-air slave auctions emerged. The country has had years of civil war and instability. Obama himself, former president of America, one-time president of America, later called the aftermath the worst mistake of his presidency. We continue. Afghanistan, 2001 to 2021, war on terror, building democracy. America invaded to destroy the Taliban and build a modern democracy. The outcome, we had, after 20 years, billions spent and massive civilian casualties, The Taliban returned to power within days of US withdrawal. Women's rights collapsed overnight. Afghanistan is now poorer, more repressive, and more unstable than before the invasion. We have Vietnam, remember the Agent Orange, 1955 to 1975, stopping the spread of communism. It went on, the US claimed it wanted to protect Vietnam from communism. The outcome is that Vietnam was devastated, millions died. The war spilled into Cambodia and Laos. America eventually withdrew in defeat. Vietnam unified under the very system the US tried to stop. The list is endless. There's Panama 1989, there is Haiti,
Cuba.
there is Chile, there's Cuba. There are countries. So let's
But
get
Nigeria
back.
will be different.
Let's get back to Nigeria.
Yes.
We have looked at all the countries the savior of the world has gone to, and none of them got saved. Now I'm going to get to Henry Wanze. You're getting, the ball is rolling very much.
Yeah, we're rolling with you.
Look at that topic. Genuine concern, or is the US overreaching? And that's where the question is. So Henry Wanze, do you
Yeah.
think Nigeria is safe with the saviors coming in?
Well, to answer that question, I want to also pose this question. If you as a father, your duty is to take care of your home and to take care of your kids, probably of course your spouse and the rest of your family, and you are not able to do that, every time you beat your wife and the neighbors gather, Papa Okoro, stop this the way they do now, this, and it gets to a point, and of course they burst into your house and try to save the situation. Would you say, in all honesty, objectively, that your neighbors are overreaching? No, because they're trying to save the situation before you kill the woman, and all of them will be held accountable. When the police comes, it picks everybody because you are witnesses. So that is the angle I'm looking at it, one side.
Yeah, I want to answer
No,
that
one
question.
side. That's just one side of it.
There's a response to that.
No, they are coming. That's why I said we look
I
at it
want to
from
respond.
two
You want
sides.
to respond.
Two sides to this coin. That is one side. Then the other side will say it's a family matter. You have no business coming into my family. Family matter, I have to settle it. This is my family. And the man has the right to say, this is my family. For you to have come in is trespassing. So that is why we're looking at it from both sides. It is a very sensitive matter.
Yes.
And from the statistics you said, even from the first time we talked about this topic, I said, we should not also has my interest at heart. Has my interest at heart more than myself, Nigerians. I said myself, Nigerians. I said it the other time. Nobody will save Nigeria. We Nigerians are going to be the ones to save Nigeria. Nigerians are going to be the ones to save Nigeria. If we really want to save Nigeria, not even an archangel, Michael, who maybe because of their political affiliations and the rest of it. The bottom line, let nobody also undermine what is going on in Nigeria. People are being slaughtered. I don't care to know whatever you want to call it. There is nothing different from what is going on and what happened during the Nazi Holocaust.
Yes.
That Adolf Hitler killed the Jews. So it's not about the religion. It's about the fact that people in a community are being displaced. As I talk to you now, people cannot go back home. Some people now, when they harvest crops now, they need to pay tributes to be able to collect their crops that they suffer, they till the soil for. This is happening in a country that is supposed to be a democratically elected country, a sovereign country, a country that is supposed to be a secular state, and some persons are being murdered, like the young lady Deborah, for whatever it is. I mean, and the people are coming out in full glare of the public, even on social media, and you are seeing their faces. And up till now, the young men who carried out that dastardly act are being left off the hook.
No arrest was made.
So what do you expect people to say?
So
Your neighbors react. So America has the right to react. It's just that we fail to do what we're supposed to do.
Engineer Meshach,
Yeah.
the ball is now in your court. We've heard from Mr. Henry Wanze, and then we think about this clearly. Let's think about this very well. Burkina Faso, recently, we saw how there was a coup d'etat and our military took over, and they celebrated regardless. People were happy. That's what we saw on the screen. Fast forward later, the United States came, General Langley, he came to describe the Burkina Faso government as corrupt, even though those in Burkina Faso kept on screaming, there's no corruption here. But it looked like America cared so much about Burkina Faso, and now America is caring so much about Nigeria. The question right there on the screen, is America not overreaching, trying to come to Nigeria and make Nigeria a country of particular concern? Many of our members of executive, they've said in different that they've agreed there are killings in this country. People even agree we need help in this country. But is this religious? Do we label this a religious issue? And is America right to want to label it a religious issue before coming to Nigeria to help?
Well, most importantly, we should understand that every life matters. Most importantly,
Yes.
every life does matter. And Americans acting based on the assumed information that they had in terms of the information disseminated. Now, what happened was this. The information that got to the Congress most times are mostly those from Benue, Plateau, Christian areas, basically. If the Muslims, with due respect, both Christians and Muslims are killed. If the Muslims decide to hide the carnage, the genocide within their areas, that is not the responsibility of mine to project to the world. And no imam comes out to say Muslims have been killed in mosques. But you and I know Muslims have been killed in the mosques. Christian clerics have been killed, and the gory pictures are all over internet. Now, America reacted and said no. You say, understand something. Iraq is a completely Islamic state. Same with Afghanistan and all that. Yes, American interest, and you have different regions, either Democrat or Republican during this period. Remember that the President of the United States of America and Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Armed Forces, President Donald Trump, has a strong affinity for human life, especially Christian life. He's very emotional when it comes to taking certain decisions. Let's not rule that out. But most importantly, the fact that every life does matter. And when he makes a problem, and they are seeing videos, the anger is that Nigeria should not degenerate to that state of Afghanistan, of Libya, of Iraq. There was, besides all that, there was internal crisis in those countries at this level. There were factional Islamist regiments within these countries even before America invaded. And there were a lot of propagandas. You would do that blame the Americans because the propagandas were generated, like Iraq, for example. It was looked at that time. They were trying to brag about having weapons of mass destruction and trying to play on intelligence and America got emotional about it, and they must go and look for that weapon. And same happened in Libya. But for the Nigerian case, for example, I will tell you it's not an overreach, no matter how you want to look at it. You see, I am so pained every day. If the government has reacted after Trump made his pronouncement, I would not have been looking at. I would have been looking at it differently. How would they have reacted? First, I'll tell you, I've been proactive. After the Trump pronouncement, we still had serious killings, not ordinary killings. We still had people that compromised in line of duty. I will start with General Oba. A general had been able to overcome an attack. He tries to rally his forces that are still alive with him and sends a signal to the command base. A signal was sent to the command base. The signal was intercepted by the insurgents. How did the insurgents get that signal? And were able to locate the latitude of this core and locate where it was hiding. Why was the Nigerian Air Force not proactive enough to be called upon? Although we have Air Force, is the Sambisa Forest that's called in, Sambisa Forest is typically grassland. You could see from here to up to Obuluku on the grassland. So why was there no reaction?
But it's quite big anyway.
No matter how big it is, so they're quite big. But then
it was the same Sambisa Forest that Watson was also rescued by the Americans. The same
Sambisa Forest. So what are we saying?
Okay.
Now there are people. They are fifth columnists within the system, and the financiers. Let's talk about the financiers. The United Arab Emirates released names of people that finance the crime. I expect a proactive regime, a proactive government to have acted. The Buhari administration didn't. Tinubu administration did not talk about it. The international communities have reduced. Let's not look. Let's stop looking at US alone. The European Union is about joining. Some European countries are beginning to feel the impact. You have Nigerians in diaspora who have one of the best hands in all professions in the world, and the world cannot sit and watch anymore. And that is why you see this reaction, because there's no reaction. How can a sane country with a sane leadership sit down and be accepting decampees when people are dying? That people are decamping from PDP to APC.
Anyway, I'll stop that.
No, it's painful.
I'll stop here by saying something very clearly. The party is supreme.
Party is supreme over life. Over human life.
Let's move on.
I think it's a man.
I think it's sarcasm.
But decamping, Shetima
again. I would mute you here.
Let's leave the politics for
the questions. Let's get to you now, Henry Wanze. It's a lot. It's a very hard topic. I really had to do petty thinking here coming. He mentioned several things. That big open field or Sambisa forest, you can actually look without using any binoculars and see how far the land is.
I haven't been there, so I can't tell you.
I practiced in the north. I did many practice in the north, so I can tell
see.
you how big the land is and how you can see really what Mesha Koza said is true. Words on marble, basically. Now, you mentioned Watson and how America went and rescued him, no problem, easy. So why do they have to label Nigeria first and create all this drama?
Okay.
Before trying to come save Nigeria? Let's remember that if Donald Trump wants to save Nigeria and he wants to label Nigeria as a CPC, country of particular concern, according to the CSW, Christian Society Worldwide, they say this might mean stopping humanitarian aid from Nigeria. And Donald Trump himself has said that he would cut any kind of assistance rendered to Nigeria. Is this man trying to save this country, or he's just trying to save America?
I don't understand that question. I think that brings to the pose of this your topic for today. Like I told you, it's like it's a fly that perches on the scrotum of a man and is biting him seriously. Oh my goodness. Do I hit this and kill this fly? What if I hit this fly, trying in my attempt to eat, I hit my scrotum and the pain can be excruciating. What if I decide not to hit the fly? What will happen? I will die of trypanosomiasis or sleeping sickness. So we are caught in the middle. It's a dilemma. So I can see it as both genuine and overreaching at the same time, if you ask me. Because are they killings? Yes. Why did he take a Donald Trump, a Captain America or Uncle Sam, to back for Nigerians to start running helter-skelter for the Nigerian political class, the Nigerian government? That is my concern. Because everybody knows it, even the blind Bartimaeus knows that there are killings in Nigeria. It is not today.
Yeah.
Like I said, in fairness to the Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, it didn't start today. But that does not preclude the fact that you are the commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and the oath of allegiance and the oath you swore on May 29th ties you to that sacrosanct oath of Section 14, subsection 2B. Even if you don't do anything, that summarizes what you as a leader are supposed to do. Provide welfare, provide security. He has failed in that regard. The APC government has failed in that regard. Even in our states, they have failed in that regard. As I talk to you now, even in Kwara State, the state government has not released any statement. The issue of Reverend Father earlier that you talked about, he's only playing politics. He's only trying to be politically correct.
That's all.
He's not being truthful to himself. He knows it. He knows it. That a section of the people of Benue State cannot go to their farms anymore. Many of them have been displaced. And majority of them have been, most of the ethnic groups have been cleansed by people who came there to settle. They came there to settle, but they want to dominate. The same thing they did in Plateau State for many years. That of Plateau State, especially Jos North, has been going on for a very long time. It didn't just start today. So the point is, it is both genuine and overreaching. Depends on the angle you are looking at it for. But I think, yes, beneath the genuineness of the whatever, yes, we know that America, what I would like to nicely tell you, America has its own interest, and the American interest is America first.
You know I'm concerned still.
Yes.
Remember not long ago, U.S. Congressman Scott Perry.
Yes.
He claimed that USAID funds were being used to help Boko Haram in Nigeria. So this super heroic stand from Donald Trump should have first started inside America, checking those groups that sponsor terrorism in Nigeria and other countries.
But the point is, no matter how you look at it, I'm still telling you the truth.
Is it clear enough to go help another country?
No. Before you point fingers at that person, you have to remove the log in your eyes before you remove the speck in another person.
I'm saying, has he removed the speck inside his own eyes?
Let us focus on our own as Nigerians.
So that's the topic.
Yes. So let us as Nigerians focus on our own travails. The point is, if you are able to handle your household, nobody has the right, no outsider has the right to start pointing and say, oh boy, you are not living your life.
I also mentioned Burkina Faso and how, albeit the Burkina Faso civilians or citizens were happy with the but the Americans are saying
now let me tell you, there are two different situations, and why I say it's very different. Look at it this way, and the reason is very clear. It is because of the Russian connection.
That is it.
Because Traore has decided to pander to the Russians rather than the French, which he's fighting against, and the Americans. So whatever you are seeing now is international politics at play. So whatever they are doing now has nothing to do like the situation in Nigeria.
Do you think that people have also argued that our affiliation with China, that Donald Trump keeps yelling about
Well,
China.
well.
The only reason America is trying to come in here and take Nigeria by force, although some people have said America can take Nigeria without force. With a simple conversation with the president.
Yeah.
So those are the concerns.
Yes, like I said, you can spin many theories, like I was saying, different theories. Yes, somebody have said they want to come and steal the resources. I'll begin to ask ourselves, those who are in Nigeria, have you enjoyed the resources?
Yes,
People are stealing
Let them
our
steal
money.
it.
So the point is, the Chinese connection again is another angle. All those angles are there, and it happens when things like this happen. People begin to bring reasons why this thing happened. The owl cried at night, the child died in the morning, and people begin to raise questions. Yes, or the superstitious believe that because the owl cried at night, that's why the child died in the morning. And may they not be related, they may not be connected. So the point is, there are killings in Nigeria, and the government has failed to address the issue, and that is why a Donald Trump, who we call the bully, will come in and want to bully our Nigerian, government, and they are running like chickens, helter-skelter, even going to America to be able to, find solutions.
Okay,
to
I'm going to give Engineer Mesha because a little of the narrative analogy you created earlier on about a man who is beating his wife, and then the neighbor who's trying to help. If the neighbor has been eyeing that man's wife all the while, would the man allow?
That is another angle. That is another angle.
Allow his neighbor.
But there was no way the man could know.
If the man,
all the while,
yes.
let's imagine that was somebody's sister. And you know that this man, this neighbor, he's a randy man. He never sees another man's wife and takes his eyes away.
Yeah.
And somehow, this man keeps beating the wife. Then this very randy, good Samaritan neighbor tries to rescue the wife. And you know what he has done to other wives he has rescued in the past. Would you allow that man rescue your brother?
It's not about rescue right now. It's coming to save a life. That you look at
the randy man who has
yes. At that time, it's a responsibility of his. Because if the cops come, if he allows you to kill that person, now the man to kill that woman, now it becomes an accessory. After the fact,
first, I say it's a rhetorical question because if the man has handled his wife very well, the wife won't be calling well. Because I'm sure why he's beating the wife, the wife is shouting, neighbors, neighbors.
You just want help.
It's
like when you're doing CPR and you don't mind breaking the bone.
And you would come mouth to mouth. So, however, moving forward, all we have discussed is basically the fact that we lack a leadership in this country that understands the plight of Nigerians truly, because the Americans, we didn't need Americans to shout before we start taking actions. A leadership that has not responded. In the last 1 week, we have close to 1,000 people exterminated by militants, and we have seen the boldness by these so-called terrorists negotiating with local governments, negotiating with counties on the way forward, paying ransoms, and we can see that these people don't even understand the use of money. They use it more like pillows, so they don't even understand. I mean, a lot of things, the government is a sham.
All right, I'll take that as a summary from Mr. Henry Wanze.
Yeah, like I said, nobody will save Nigeria more than Nigerians, not even Angel Michael. So Nigerians have to wake up. Our leaders at all levels, both at the national and sub-national level, need to wake up. We don't need an outsider to save Nigeria if we are really serious.
Oh man, you've heard from the men that I think the emotions are just clear. Nigeria needs to be saved, and that saving starts from us. We must first put our house in order before we ask for somebody else to tell us to be in order. And that's how we wrap it up. Whether the United States comes into the country or not, we must look out for ourselves, and we must be sure first that we help the country. Our leaders just should be held accountable, and they should be accountable indeed for the things going on in the country. Like it was said here, the security of lives and property, that's the first interest of any other government, and that should be the case of the Nigerian people. That's all on the program. The faculty, a big well done to Engineer Meshach Oza and Mr. Henry Wanze for doing us justice on this topic. We shall see you again for another edition of the program. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Francis Ofulwe. Good afternoon and goodbye.